Well, good afternoon. I told you, I promised you I'd do a Sunday video and I would answer your questions, but I have to sing to Diana Ward because today's her birthday. And I was going to sing it tomorrow on my daily vlog, but that's a day late. A day late and a penny short. Can't do that. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Diana. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. People said they wanted to hear the cha-cha-chas. Anyway, I wanted to answer some questions. Once again, I'm sorry in advance if I screw up your name. I'm going to try my very best to say them correctly. The first one is from Roxy De Mornay. I always think of Rebecca De Mornay, but it's Roxy. Her question is, who are your favorite singers? Well, my all-time favorite singers are the Beatles. I just love the Beatles. I have them on my iPod. I have them on my iPad. I have them on my iPhone. I have them everywhere I go. I have them in my car. I have the Beatles channel on my Sirius radio. I also like a little more current. I do like Josh Groban, and I like Pink, and I like, trying to think what the other one is I like. I can never, the one that has her hair on her face that you can't see. Starts with a C. Sarah? Well, when I think of it, I'll come back to it. You know who I mean. I know who it is, but I can't think of it. I gotta think of who it is. You know who I mean. You know, she has the hair like all on her face like that. Anyway, it'll come to me. The second question is from Yvonne. I think it's Yvonne. Thompson, what are your hobbies? Well, YouTube is my main hobby. I haven't had a hobby. I don't have hobbies. I don't sew, and I don't do puzzles or, well, you know what? I do a lot of puzzles on my phone. I play a lot of games on my phone. I love to read. I'm an avid reader. I have a book in here that I'm reading, and then I have a book in the living room that I read. And in the summer, I have a book that I bring outside that I read. And when I worked, I had a book at work that I read. And I would read them all at the same time. And I could really, you know, obviously not at the same minute, but depending on what room I was in, that's the room and I got one by my bed, too, that I'm thinking about it. But my favorite authors are Patricia Cornwell, Sue Grafton. She just passed. She didn't even get through the alphabet. She only got to Y. She knows Z's. Y was her last one. Janet Ivanovich, Harlan Coben, Stephen King. You know, I read a lot of, oh, I can't even think of, boy, I'm having all kinds of brain farts today. I don't know what the deal is. You know the guy that writes all of his own books? John Grisham. I like John Grisham, but that's not who I was thinking of. And I'm reading his book right now. It's in the living room. Otherwise, I'd just look at it real quick right now. He writes James Patterson. I knew it would come to me. I knew it. James Patterson. I don't really think he writes the books. I think he comes up with a general outline of the book, and then he hires another writer to write the book, but he kind of gives you the whole basis of the story. Long story short, that's who I like. Judith Harris. Do you think retirement has made it easier to take care of yourself and eat right? You would think it would have, wouldn't you? No, not really. Well, now it does, but not when I first retired. I did actually, no, I did poorly even then when I was working, because you know, we always went out to lunch, and you know, when you eat out, it's always bad. And I retired in 2013, and I didn't really start Weight Watchers and getting fully committed to it until 2016. And so I've been doing pretty good with that. I do find it easier that Jim started working afternoons, because Jim and I eat entirely different types of food. And when I cook for him, I always tend to, you know, like he likes a lot of mashed potatoes. He likes a lot of bread or biscuits or buns or rolls. He likes like things on a burger, like a burger on a bun. And so it's just easier for me to whip up something really quick. If it wasn't for the fact that I was mad at my boss, I'd still be working. I really would. I really enjoyed my job. I really liked my job. The reason I retired was something came about and they had to combine all of the departments into one, and I was the lowest paid one on the scale because I came from the mailroom, and the people from accounting were making almost $6 or $7 more an hour than me. And I didn't have a problem with the first year because it happened in 2010. We all got thrown into the same job description. But every year when we'd get a raise, everybody got a straight 3%. So that meant that they got at least 18 cents more an hour every year than me, you know, depending on, based on a $6 difference. Not, you know, like if I was making $10, I got 30 cents. But if they were making $16, they got like 45 cents. So, I mean, it just wasn't fair. And so I complained and I complained and I complained. And, you know, and I got into a lot of trouble from all my complaining. And, you know, I'm going to have more than one part on this with my questions. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, our company was actually owned by a company in England. And they had transferred our work to New Delhi in India. And so our main boss was from New Delhi. And I would write letters to him all the time complaining because my boss just wouldn't acknowledge it. He was bringing in his own people and paying them all the money. And he just wouldn't see it. And so finally, the year before I retired, I had a conference call scheduled. And it was me, my boss, and then the boss in New Delhi, and then the boss in England. So it was like a four-way conference call. And at the end of the call, it was determined that I had to be brought up equal pay to what everybody else was getting. And what they would have to do was just give me an extra job. And I said I was fine with that. You know, I really wasn't fine with it, but if it got me the money, I would do it. It wasn't a problem. So I said, yes, I would do that. And we got off the phone call. And unfortunately, my boss's parents were in a car accident, and he lost one of his parents, and so he was off work for a while. And when he came back, you know, I waited, you know, a normal amount of time, and then I reminded him about the call, and he said, well, he wasn't going to honor that, and that if I didn't like it, I could just quit. So I went to Social Security then to find out about what I could do. And they told me I could retire, but if I waited until, this was in June, they said if you wait until January, you can still work for 6 months, collect your full Social Security check, and then after 6 months just quit. So it's like you got a raise in the same sense. So I said, okay, I'll do that. And so 2 weeks before I retired, I went in and I gave my 2 weeks notice, and I told him that, you know, it was because of the pay. And he said, well, when did you make this decision that you were going to quit? And I said, I made it last June, on the 22nd of June of, you know, 2012. And he said, well, then why did you wait a full year to give your 2 weeks notice? And I said, because I collected Social Security for the first 6 months of this year. I got my raise that you wouldn't give me, and now I'm leaving. And I did. I left. It was, you know, not on happy terms. I would have liked to have worked longer, but, you know, it was the principle. Okay, sorry about the long-winded explanation on that. Louise Paulin wants to know, have you found transition from smart points to freestyle easy? I really am not having an issue with it. I just kind of sometimes wonder, before eggs were 2 points and now they're 0. And, you know, a lot of the things like you had to weigh the chicken and now you don't. I'm getting 10 less points than I was with the smart points. It's working for me if I really stick to it. If I can get through the weekends, and I'm telling you, I didn't have a good weekend. Well, yesterday was good, but today not so well. But I you know, I said I was going to do better on Sunday, and I just did poorly. I really did poorly today. But tomorrow's a new day, and tomorrow I can walk, so I'm going to get back on track. But I'm liking the freestyle. I really am. I think I'm doing pretty good with it, and yeah. And I have to remember, I really succeeded with the smart points. I would always go from the 60s back into the 70s. And then from the 50s back into the 60s. And it wasn't until I got into the 40s, well, the freestyle started when I was in the 50s. And I got into the 40s and I never went back into the 50s. And now I'm into the 30s and I'm determined not to go back into the 40s. So I'm not going to start that pattern again. I just can't do that. But in a nutshell, I like the transition. I'm doing pretty good. Katrina Young is, what are your tips for getting back on track? And I just told you I did so poorly yesterday. I have to figure out a way to structure my weekend better on a Sunday and a Saturday. For some reason, a lot of times I do think, I mean, I would have a better loss if I stayed true to my program on Saturdays and Sundays. I know that. But in my body, I think I have to trick. And to trick it is just to eat a lot more than I really should. And I know that's not right and that's not healthy. And I'm not advising that for anybody. I'm just saying that for me, I would have a better loss, I think, if I could get through Saturday and Sunday. But what I do is, I did poorly today, but I'm not beating myself up about it. You know, today I've already done it. It's already in my stomach. I'm not going to bring it back up. I'm not that type of person. And just live with it. And then tomorrow, just remind myself how poorly I did, on the weekends. And then, and I love Jim with all my heart. I really do. But I don't eat as much when he's not here. I don't know why. It's when he's here, because he's a snacker. He's a big snacker. And like last night, he brought home pizza. And it's not because he's trying to sabotage me, because he's very happy about my weight loss, and he likes my weight loss, and he compliments me all the time, and he doesn't try to tempt me. But every once in a while, I think he just, that's just the way we show love, is through food. And we've done it our whole married life. And like if I see a cannoli, I'll bring him, I'm not a big fan of cannolis, but if I see a cannoli, he loves cannolis, I'll bring him home cannolis. Or if I go to the bakery and I see angel wings, he loves angel wings. I don't like angel wings, I'll bring them home. And he's the same way with me, and M&Ms, he loves M&Ms. So I mean, that's just the way we show love. It's not the right way to show love, but we've done it for almost 50 years. So 51 years. It's been 51 years we've been together, so we've been doing it for a long time, so it's a hard habit to break. But anyway, just don't beat yourself up. I don't beat myself up. I get mad at myself. I'm not saying I don't get mad at myself, but I do get mad at myself. But then I think, no, you did it. It's done with. It's not going to change. It's in the past. Look to the future. That's what I do. Rosie Villa wants to know, am I a Roman Catholic? Yes, I am. I know there's a Greek Orthodox Catholic, which is kind of somewhat similar to the Roman Catholics, but they have a different head of their church, where the Catholic Church has the Pope. And I've been a Roman Catholic my whole life. That's the only religion I've ever known, and I like my religion. I have nothing against other people's religion. Although if you talk to my best friend, I always make fun of her because she's a Methodist. She always makes fun of me because I'm a Catholic. And it's just, if people were to hear us, like when we were working and we would start talking that way, people would walk by and think, oh my God, Sue and Sandy are at it again. But we really weren't. We're the same age. She's a month to the day older than me, and I like to remind her of that. And it's just, I've told you before, I truly believe that if you live a good life and you're holy, and you're not so much holy, but like you live a good life, you're nice to people, you're a good person, you believe that there's someone higher than you that's watching over you, although I do believe it's a God, but I just can't find it in my heart to believe that there's a God that's going to just say because you don't believe in a certain thing that you're not going to go to heaven. You live a good life, you're going to go to heaven. I'm going to see you there. I just know it. So, all right, more than one part. I am so sorry. If I ever changed my name on my channel, I'd have to call it Babbling Brook, because, I just babble. Like a bobbling, no, not a bobbling stone. What's it? Like a rolling, no, I'm not even a rolling stone. Well, anyway, I talk a lot. That's the whole point. So, let's do a second part. I'll see you guys in a little bit.